Sleep is a huge one in the military. Nobody here sleeps enough.
Sleeping in the Navy is very difficult.
You have racks stacked 3 or 4 high, this big and this wide.
You've got the lights, you've got the noises, you've got people that are always awake when you're sleeping.
The human body wants to sleep at night, but when the tones go off, when that alarm rings, you're up.
We're concerned with how you manage crossing time zones, right? And how you manage shift work and the fatigue that comes with rotating through different shifts.
You might be on one shift and your bunkmate might be on another, so you're having to deal with them getting ready to go to work while you're trying to go to sleep.
So now you have a recipe for folks not getting the opportunity to sleep.
I don't know about you, when I lay down in bed, I'm still on my phone. I'll sit there and I'll scroll through YouTube or Instagram or TikTok.
We cannot accept that sleep hygiene is a societal norm. Well, nutrition's not necessarily the same either, or activity for that matter.
That becomes even more important in the performance ecology of a shipboard environment where human beings and machines and processes and procedures are so incredibly reliant on each other.
What risks are they facing, and what can we do to help improve their outcomes in the long term?
Sleep touches on just about everything, as you can imagine. Our physical health, our emotional health, our cognitive or mental health.
Sleep is one of the most important times for your body to repair itself. It's when we're sleeping that our body assesses itself. All right, what are injuries? Where's the inflammation? And what can we do to start repairing it? So just thinking of it purely as a recovery time point, the less sleep you have, the less time you're giving yourself to recover and your body to become more resilient.
Sleep is like a superpower. It's like a secret weapon. Your mental acuity, your sharpness, your cognition, it all declines with accumulated fatigue.
So your reaction time will be slower. You'll be less accurate in your perception.
You can't make sound decisions. You're not recovering. You're almost guaranteeing injury.
They're not as alert, they're not able to concentrate, they may be more short-tempered, be more prone to depression, anxiety, have less impulse control, and none of those things are things you want when you have to make key decisions in a dangerous environment 24/7.
Research does show that if you get less than 6 hours per night, your chance of injury skyrockets, especially if you're training a lot.
Fatigue is a factor in at least 1 in 5 human factors incidents. And it's probably closer to 1 in 2. So much so that if you address the fatigue, it stands to reason that the accident doesn't happen. And so I think the Navy would do well by seeing things from an HPO, a human performance optimization perspective, and realizing that rest, recovery, and recycle are critical elements of any useful training paradigm.
We are very much trying to change the culture of bravado in saying, I was awake for 36 hours and I toughed it out, to understanding that if you get a cat nap, you're gonna be better off than if you power through 36 hours. And getting that educational message out is huge.
Breathe out. And in.
Yeah, we have a guy, his name is Pat. He is just the sleep guy. So if somebody comes to us and like, man, I haven't slept more than 3 hours in the last 2 weeks, we're like, you need to go talk to Pat. And his job then is to give you recommendations, strategies, and different training ideas just to be able to go learn how to sleep appropriately.
Teaching them how to go to sleep now. No matter the environment, no matter the amount of noise, 2 minutes in, using the strategies, they're asleep. With the type of nap strategies that we've taught them, they can get a unit of sleep per a very short amount of time.
Removing light from your environment before going to bed. So that includes, your screen, going on Instagram or TikTok or beforehand. That bright light doesn't allow your brain to realize that you're going to sleep. And during sleep, we're secreting a lot of hormones. Growth hormones and testosterone specifically is being secreted at higher levels to help repair and fix our body.
You can sleep bank by sleeping extra hours prior to a week where you know you're only gonna get 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Even 6:30 PT. Is it necessary? We don't really think so, and it does lead to a lot of folks waking up an hour or two earlier than they probably should have.
There is a trade-off when that happens, whether that's acute sleep deprivation or that's chronic sleep deprivation or a combination of both. You have to understand that you are accepting a higher risk. Even in Afghanistan, the people that we were in the business arrangement with really understood from thousands of years of warfare that they didn't have to have better weapons, they just had to keep us awake.
The theme here is do what you can when you can do it and prioritize sleep when that's an option. But we need that message to carry because we're also, working with a cultural mindset of we don't need sleep, it's not important. And in fact, if you're foregoing sleep in the name of getting more work done and trying to advance in your career, it's often rewarded.
And what do we do to overcome that? Caffeine.
Everyone's constantly drinking coffee. In almost every single room, someone's got a Keurig or some kind of coffee maker going on.
When I was in the Navy, the coffee pot was going all day. If there was Celsius and all those other rock stars, we would have been drinking it.
Sometimes I'll see soldiers and they're drinking 1,200 milligrams of caffeine a day.
They don't understand that caffeine stays in your system at least 10 hours. So you had an energy drink before you got off of work. You pick up a Starbucks on the way home from work and it has 3 shots of espresso in it. And then you wonder why you can't fall asleep.
You're walking into a briefing and you're like wading through these cans of spent Rippets and energy drinks. And we're like, I came here for a different reason, but we got to talk about the amount of Rippets on the ground,
So caffeine, it's a wonderful tool if used correctly. However, most soldiers are not using it as a tool, but more of a masking process in order to fight back against the sleep deprivation that either they've brought upon themselves or the military has set up for them.
It's understanding what energy drinks really give you. Yes, they give you caffeine, but they give you a lot of caffeine. So drinking 3 or 4 energy drinks is going to really give you way too much caffeine for what you're using it for. Really what we can do is optimize the coffee usage or the energy drink usage to really benefit you as a sailor. So really trying to be smart about, okay, rather than drinking coffee all day, every day, only drinking coffee for that period that I know I'm going to be the most tired or the most fatigued.
We habituate to caffeine. That is, the more we have, the more we need to have to get the boost. And so if you abstain from having caffeine or too much caffeine on a regular basis, on that day, operationally, when you need it, it will give you a very significant boost. And so tactically, the way to make the most use of caffeine is to avoid it when you don't need it.
Again, none of these things should necessarily be demonized, but if they are used without any regard for how much you should be consuming and when and why, then that's where we start to see the obesity, the sleep issues, the injuries while training, and things like that.
But making sure that there are those 200 milligrams or less dosage of caffeine, okay?
We have a lot of misinformation about nutrition in this country, but also definitely in the military. And it's really a lot of helping people understand how to use caffeine and how to balance out their nutrition and timing so their body works optimally.
In the Navy and in the fire service, there's no day that we're not training. We're expected to train every day. And the goal remains the same, is to have a healthy firefighter that has a long and prosperous career. So here at the Wellness Center, we're gonna teach them ways to wean themselves off of those vices and explain why, and then show them the results as they start to learn how to better take care of themselves.
All right, that's looking good.
What is the most optimal trade-off when you're sleep deprived might not be the next cup of coffee. It might be 16 ounces of water, added electrolytes to rehydrate your brain and rehydrate yourself to get more mental stamina.
One of the most common things that I see as a dietitian is somebody will drink caffeine and then not be hungry because it kind of kills your appetite and it fills you up if you're drinking some kind of fluid with caffeine in it. So then a lot of times it's displacing their nutrition intake.
If you're not eating enough, you're probably gonna be tired. And masking that with caffeine only works for so long. So if instead we took a step back and took care of the basics and also have some caffeine that's at the level that your body's going to assimilate it best, then you're gonna be in a much better spot.
And that's why I refer to what I do often as tactical nutrition. And tactical nutrition is flexible. We have to use what we have, and then we have to give people the pieces though, and then we teach them how to use that.
Prior to our wellness programs, things were very different dietary. So in the fire stations, we would eat a lot of red meat, very few leafy green vegetables or anything like that. Since then, they go over things that you should eat, should not eat, and we're expanding to cooking classes and more hands-on things that you can actually do.
Can you imagine serving a quinoa dish like 10 years ago? That would have been crazy, But we're definitely being more mindful of the balance that we have with our food, the way we cook, the way we shop.
One thing that was really nice is the nutritionists and the wellness people would come visit us at the fire station and have lunch with us. And They would look at the kind of things we would put in our food. What kind of oil are you using to fry your eggs for breakfast? Wait, vegetable oil, that's really bad. Get rid of that. Try an avocado oil instead, or even a real good quality butter. And then people start going, oh, really? That's how it works? Okay, we can do that.
Just as much as fatigue builds up over time, these small improvements in your health and well-being can also build up to counteract the negative effects of fatigue. And so that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to optimize small little things that build up to big health improvements under the conditions that they're facing.
Elite athletes get this, right? They understand how to fuel appropriately for their athletic discipline. We spend a lot of time talking to our airmen, trying to convince them they're like elite athletes, right, for the Air Force. It's just our form of an elite athlete looks a little different, but you need to prepare your body in the same way that an elite athlete would prepare theirs.
We need to turn our perceptions about what these things are in an HPO environment. Food is fuel, sleep is readiness.
Knowing that information and being able to do something a little bit different, but still manageable within the environment we're in, I think that gives a lot of power back to the individual. And it also, you're able to see that objectively. So in the whole picture, everything improves.
This is about how do we connect that to mission accomplishment? How do we make sure that you're more effective in your role and tending to the individuals so that we can raise that ceiling of what a unit and what a crew is capable of doing?
Providing these young sailors with opportunities to establish healthy exercise habits, healthy nutrition, healthy sleep habits, because when you improve the individual sailor, you improve the Navy as a whole.
It's in the blood, man. It's in the blood.